of information, a bit of news that's doing the rounds. It was a massive day yesterday, absolutely huge with things that were going down. Now, we did a video on that, which hit, like, I think pretty much all the major talking points. I think the only thing that happened after that video was Mustafa Ali showing up in New Japan. So Mustafa Ali also showed in New Japan. So that was something that we didn't cover, but everything else we put into that video, and it was just a crazy, like, oh my god, this is happening, now that's happening, now Jack Perry, Jungle Boy has shown up, and now this is happening, and it was just kind of non-stop. So thankfully a lot of it happened after the UFC. We started doing our UFC coverage again yesterday, which we tend to do on a Saturday because there's not really any wrestling, WWE, on a Saturday. Obviously, if there is, we will prioritize that. So we are doing the Royal Rumble. But yeah, we are doing UFC this weekend. But thankfully, all that news was kind of dropping after that stream. So we can talk about all of those things as well. There's a few other little bits and bobs and updates. So let's get the timer going and we can get stuck into some conversations. I think we'll do the timer. I think what we'll do is we will just preview Raw, and then I really want to get into the chat, and I really want to get into where you guys are and see what you lot are saying, right? So, can Jinder win, right? That's the big question. Can Jinder win? My gut feeling is that it's not going to happen because I think that CM Punk is probably winning the Rumble. That's probably going to get us to CM Punk versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. I know that Seth doesn't need the title, but if Seth doesn't have the title, then we don't need CM Punk to win the Rumble. Those two things kind of go hand in hand. So for me, if Seth is losing tomorrow, then I don't think CM Punk's winning, because if CM Punk wins, then at WrestleMania, he won't be facing Seth. He will be facing whoever's got the belt. So for me, I think that Seth's going to get past Jinder. I think it'll be a banging match. I think it'll make Jinder look good. I think that should be top priority. Make Jinder look good. And I was thinking maybe what they'll do is after, when Jinder has lost and is frustrated, could we see Indashir come down to the ring and start attacking Seth? Like, you know, they come down, brutal beatdown. Does that then mean that Seth needs some help? Could we see the Creed brothers? Could this set up Seth and the Creeds against Indashir and Jinder for the following week? You kind of get where I'm going with this. So, you know, we've got Indashir backstage. The original plan is that Jinder is the manager of Indashir. So I'm wondering if we're kind of going to use it as a way of putting Jinder over. Thank you for doing that Rock thing. Here is a title opportunity. You're not going to get the belt because we haven't built you up or done anything really to go in that direction. This as a way of introducing Indashir. So I am just wondering if that's the path we're going down. And it would be pretty fun to do Seth and the Creeds against Indashir with Jinder. Now, I don't know that it's going that way, but if I was a betting man, that's the kind of thing that I would be leaning towards. I do want Jinder to win, though. I know a lot of people out there are split on this as to whether they want him to win or not, because I do think the point that Tony Khan made was relevant. It's just he's not the right person to make it. I don't think it's unfair for Tony Khan to say, why does Jinder deserve a title opportunity? What has he done to get a title match? You know, you have to win the Royal Rumble to get a title match, or Money in the Bank to get a title match. Like, I kind of feel like it shouldn't be that easy to just confront a champion and get an opportunity. But that's what's happened. And I don't think it's unfair for Tony to ask that question and say, why, you know, is this happening? But he's clearly not the right person to do that. If we ask that question, if I ask that question, if you ask that question, we're coming from it from a point of view of, we're fans of WWE, right? We're not doing it because we're trying to knock WWE. We're trying to do it because we just want to understand it better, or we want them to maybe do a bit of better booking in the future, right? Or maybe consider it in the future. Maybe they didn't consider it this time and they could consider it in the future, right? We're not coming at it from a point of view where we're trying to throw jabs. We're not coming at it from a point of view where we're trying to put WWE down, you know? We're coming at it from a fan critique point of view, whereas Tony was clearly not doing that. Tony Khan was coming at it from a, oh, you're fine with Jinder, but you're not all right with Hook kind of mentality. You know, he's coming from it from a taking a jab point of view. It's a different context. So I don't think his point was necessarily a wrong point to make or a wrong question to ask. I just don't think he's the right person to do it, and I don't think that was the right forum to do it or the right time to do it. And obviously, you know, you saw the fallout of all of that, so there is a thought going around, maybe WWE put the title on Jinder just to kind of stick the middle finger up to Tony Khan. I don't think WWE will do that. This is Endeavor, it's TKO, they're all about money, they're all about maximizing opportunities, and yeah, this Jinder thing's an opportunity, but what's it gonna lead to? Like, if you put the belt on Jinder, is that going to result in a massive Mania match? Like, I'm not sure that it is. You could do Jinder against Drew, or, you know, there are things that you could do, but clearly Seth Rollins against CM Punk is a bigger match to make. And the way that we get there feels like CM Punk wins the Rumble and Seth Rollins retains the title. Now, I know what people are thinking. They're thinking you don't need the title to be involved in CM Punk against Seth Rollins. And that's absolutely true. That is true. You can still do that match without the title. So that is a fair point. But I don't know that they are looking to go in that direction, basically. I don't know that they're looking to get the title off Jinder. Had this Tony Khan tweet have not happened, I don't even think this would be much of a consideration. I don't really think we'd be sat here even talking about this. You know, it would just be a random Seth Rollins title defense. It's the Tony Khan stuff that has made this bigger. It's the Tony Khan stuff that's elevated all of this. So, yeah, I suppose it's not wrong to get our teeth into the main subject, the thumbnail, the title of this stream. Can Jinder win? Well, he can. Will he win? I don't think so. But if we have a look at the poll, we've had nearly 200 votes already, and it kind of feels like the community is sort of where I am. So at the moment, the majority of you are saying no, we don't think Jinder will win, but it's not a big majority, you know. So nearly 200 votes, and we've got 57% of you saying no. We've got 43% of you saying yes. So it ain't a massive difference. Like, it's only 7% away from 50-50. So, I don't know, man. We'll have to wait and see. I'm really looking forward to it. It's, you know, thank you, Tony, because you definitely have made this a more interesting match, a much bigger match, a more exciting match. You've definitely put a seed of doubt in WWE fans' minds now. Are WWE going to do it just to stick the finger up at Tony? I don't think they will. But then I didn't think CM Punk was going to come back at Survivor Series, so my recent record isn't the strongest. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I am definitely leaning towards I don't think it's going to happen. But something that is going to happen is Gunther is going to be returning tomorrow, and this is big because we don't know who his next challenger is. And I keep thinking we've got to be close to him losing this title. Maybe at this point we're saving it for WrestleMania 40. I don't know, but yeah, we are looking for his next challenger. He hasn't been around since that match against The Miz, so this is like, you know, basically a month later. He's coming back. He's gonna defend that Intercontinental Championship soon. Not tomorrow, we don't think, but soon. Maybe at the Rumble. or maybe on like a Raw after the Rumble. But so I'm fairly confident that some challenger is either going to be established or like a tournament's going to be set up or something's going to happen tomorrow to find out who is next for Gunther. We know it's not The Miz because he lost that match and he can now not challenge for the IC title whilst Gunther's got it. That was the stipulation. So we know we've definitely moved on from The Miz. Is it time to go back to Chad Gable? That's the name that a lot of people have been saying for quite a while now, that it's going to be Chad. But is that the right way forwards? Have they got someone else in mind? Could it be they've just been waiting for Ilya to drop the title and kind of, I don't know, beat Gunther on the Raw after WrestleMania? Could you imagine that? We call up Ilya Dragunov to the main roster and he beats Gunther on the Raw after WrestleMania, and that's where Gunther's title reign comes to an end. I don't know. It's an interesting one. So very excited for that. So we've got Jinder Seth, amazing. We've got Gunther returning, amazing. We've got Miz and R-Truth, the awesome Truth, going up against Judgment Day, trying to win the tag titles. Amazing. I don't know actually if this is for the tag titles. I think this is actually just a match, and I think if they win the match, then they should get a title opportunity after that. Let me just have a look at WWE's Twitter account. I don't want to say the wrong thing, so it is on behalf of and representing the Judgment Day, Awesome Truth rides again. Live, laugh, love. That's a tweet 51 minutes ago from R-Truth. Awesome Truth will take on Judgment Day, but where does R-Truth's loyalties lie? So they're not saying that it's for the championship, right? So I'll correct myself on that. But I seem to remember there being a backstage segment on Raw Talk last week where Miz said if they win, then they should be eligible for an actual title match opportunity. So I think the Awesome Truth could win tomorrow. I think they could win. And then that's going to put R-Truth in a hell of a predicament, because all of a sudden now he's in Judgment Day, but he's got an opportunity to win the tag titles with The Miz. And I hope they do it, man. I would love Awesome Truth to be the tag champs. That would be so good. R-Truth has killed it since he came back. Absolutely killed it. Who doesn't want to see R-Truth as a champion, a proper champion? Not 24/7, I-97, IHOP, whatever champion, European, super duper champ, but as the undisputed tag team champions with The Miz. That would be so good. So, yeah, big match tomorrow. If they win, I think it unlocks a title match for them. Then we've got DIY against JD and Dominic. DIY might be the reason why Awesome Truth don't get the titles, because DIY are clearly being built up. They definitely feel like future tag champs. We know how much Triple H loves Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. They were two of the biggest stars ever in NXT. If you don't watch NXT, you need to know DIY are a massive deal, right? They might not feel like it right now, right? They might just feel like two guys that come out and have some decent matches, but they are a big deal. They are, I think if you're doing a Mount Rushmore of NXT, I feel pretty good that one, if not both of them, are going to be chiseled into the rock for the Mount Rushmore of NXT. Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, they were down in NXT for so long. Both of them former NXT champions. Yeah, these guys are serious. They could be the ones that end up beating Judgment Day. So they're going up against JD and Dominic. I would expect DIY to win. And the other bit of news is that Cody is going to be opening the show tomorrow. Cody opens the show tomorrow. So we know that we're opening with Cody. I don't think there's any CM Punk. He's not been announced, so I don't think we've got CM Punk, but I think that's a pretty stacked card. You know, I always like to be honest. If a show looks okay, if it looks 50-50, if it looks good, if it looks stacked, I think that's stacked. The reason why is because we're getting a championship match straight out the gate. You know, it's not often you get a world heavyweight championship match. Then you've got the return of Gunther. Then you got Miz and R-Truth You know, and R-Truth's killing it. Cody opening the show as well. Like, that's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. So, and we're not that far away from the Royal Rumble. So this is going to be the last Raw before the go-home. So we know the go-homes can be a little bit cobbled together. Go-homes can just be, you know, let's get through, basically. Let's get to the pay-per-view. So this is the last proper show. This week is the week of the last proper shows. So very, very excited for that. So that's the preview for Raw. I've got a few other bits and bobs to get our teeth into. Just one bit of news that I'm going to show you, because then I can actually close this window that I've got open, and that will help because I don't like having loads of windows open. But I did see this. This is online at the moment. So here is... I don't even get this comment. Right, but there's Cora Jade celebrating her birthday. The reason why I'm showing you this is because, of course, last we heard she was being escorted out the ring injured. Obviously, we don't know where the injury is, but she seems to be in good spirits here. So, and I think that's Fallon Henley next to her. I have seen another video that shows a different angle. But yeah, this is her. This was uploaded an hour ago. And can I just say as well, I know I'm a boomer, right? I'm gonna show myself here so you can see I'm being serious. I'm definitely a boomer. I know I'm a boomer, right? I don't get the message on this tweet because it says here, she's just a little guy. I love her. I don't know what that means. I have no idea what that means. I know this is a Cora Jade Stan account. God bless them, right? God bless them. I'm sure they're probably all of 5 years old, but what does that mean? She's just a little guy. I love her. I mean, how can you be a Cora Jade Stan account and not even know that she's female? She's just a little guy. She's just a little guy. I love her. So the stands are out in force. I want to show the other camera angle because you can see Fallon Henley a little better. Not that it matters, but oh, here, this is the one. Rihanna said, "Happy birthday to there." Like you see Fallon, and it doesn't even quite. You go, is that her? I think it is her. I think that is Fallon. Oh, and I was going to pause that as well, because I don't know who these people are. I can't recognize these people. That looks a little bit Elektra Lopez-y. And that looks a little bit Wendy Chu. So, I think it might be... And I don't know who that is. Is that Kiana James? That could be Kiana James. And that's JC Jane. So, I think we've got Kiana James, JC Jane, Fallon Henley... Wendy Chu, and who did I say the other one was? Who's the other one? It's just a guy. It's just Elektra Lopez. So I think they all went out tonight. This was only 58 minutes ago. It's just a load of guys having fun. It's just a load of guys at a restaurant having a great time. Come on. So I saw that, and that comment made me laugh, and I just thought people would be interested. To makes us feel like we're there, makes us feel like we've got friends. Like I actually feel like I'm at that party now. I feel like I went. If anyone asks me, and they're like, "Oh, do you know Cora Jade?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was at a birthday party." Yeah, it was me. It was JC Jane. It was Wendy Chu. It was brilliant. We had a great time. Oh God, honestly, the laughs. Oh, absolutely brilliant. Just a load of lads on the town. That's all we were. Just a load of lads on the town. So, yeah, I wanted to show you that because I thought it was a little bit of fun. Richard said, Daze, Seth will retain with the help of The Rock, performing the people's elbow on Jinder at WWE Raw. Well, Richards, I will be stunned if that happens, because The Rock is someone who is only ever going to make fleeting appearances. He's a very busy man. He's a very busy man. I can't see The Rock showing up again. We've had our yearly Rock appearance. We haven't seen him for years. He showed up once last year, and we've already had him once this year. So I will be stunned if that goes down, but equally, I will also be very excited, Richard. So we will all be tuning in to see what happens between Seth and Jinder Mahal. Jeremy said, did you hear that MJF is plus 1,000 to win the Royal Rumble? I did not hear this. But that is quite wide odds. So I could believe that because those odds are quite wide. That means that you would have to bet $1,000 to try and win. It's basically 10 to 1. So you'd have to bet $1,000 to win $100 for if that came true. And I do actually have some odds here. I'm quite well prepared. And I have no idea why it's recommending dresses. Not a clue. But yeah, this is the latest odds from WrestleZone. And this was only yesterday. So they got the latest information from January 13th. They haven't got like a full list. It's only the top end. But I thought it was interesting. So I thought we could just have a quick look. This was reported. I did put this in an unseen video. It was Fightful that spoke about this. Cody Rhodes is actually third favorite for the Rumble. He's not second favorite. Amazingly, Gunther is. Gunther is actually second favorite. And I don't know why, to be honest, because Gunther's a heel. If he wins the Rumble, who's he going to face? Seth. So we're going to do Gunther against Seth at WrestleMania. We're not going to do CM Punk against Seth. So who's Gunther meant to be facing? He ain't going to face the Roman, is he? He ain't going to face Roman at WrestleMania. We ain't going to get Roman versus Gunther. So that must mean that it would be Seth. And if Seth loses the title, surely he's going to lose it to... I mean, I know that the CM Punk Seth match is very strange. It's very like Hogan Ultimate Warrior, two baby faces. But yeah, I mean, if Seth loses it to Jinder, we're not going to do Jinder versus Gunther. And if Seth loses it to Damian Priest... We're not going to do Damian Priest versus Gunther. That's heel against heel. I know it can be done. I know it's not like, you know, the most impossible thing in the world, but it's highly unlikely that we would do heel against heel. So, I don't know. I'm struggling with the Gunther one, to be honest. Gunther was favourite. Gunther, I think what might have happened, is for the longest time, Gunther was favourite. And then CM Punk came back, and CM Punk's now favourite. And so I think this might be as simple as he was favourite, and now he's slipped to second because CM Punk's come back. But if we sort of think about things now, I don't know that Gunther actually makes much sense winning the Rumble, because whoever beats Seth, as we said, it's going to be a heel. You'd end up doing heel against heel, and I just can't see Gunther against Seth. And I can't see us doing Seth versus Gunther versus CM Punk. No one wants that, do they? I've said before, like, throwing extra people in to make, like, you know, a triple threat or a fatal four-way, it doesn't make the match better. It makes the match worse, in my opinion. Like, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, one-on-one, that's the match. Or Seth Rollins versus Gunther one-on-one, that's the match. Or CM Punk against Gunther, that could be the match. All of them bang. I'll watch all of those. Absolutely brilliant. But CM Punk against Seth against Gunther, that doesn't do it as much for me. Even though Gunther had an amazing triple threat last year, I don't want a triple threat again. So yeah, I'm not feeling that one. Even though I love Gunther, and he is absolutely one of my favorites at the moment. CM Punk is the top. Then you've got Cody. Number 4 is LA Knight at plus 500, which is interesting. Then you've got Randy at plus 600. Then you've got The Rock at plus 700. And then you've got Drew McIntyre at plus 1,000. So if you're telling me that MJF is plus 1,000, that's actually the same odds as Drew McIntyre. So, which is about 10 to 1, basically. Women's Rumble, we've got Becky Lynch is the favourite at plus 200. We've got Bayley at plus 250. That's interesting, isn't it? Because I think it's Bayley. I think Bayley's winning it, and I know many of you do as well. And at the moment, you can get her at plus 250. So that means that if you bet 100, you would get 250 back. And of course, you would get your 100 back as well. So if you bet $100 and Bailey did win, you would get $350 back. Don't forget, 100 of that is the money that you bet. So that's not bad, is it? That doesn't strike me as too bad at all. I might have a little dabble on Bailey. Bailey feels like a good pick. And we do not condone betting. This is not financial advice. I think you have to say stuff like that on the internet, otherwise people sue you. This is not financial advice, but I would definitely bet your house on Bailey. Then you've got Becky Lynch at plus 200, Bailey at plus 250, Jade Cargill at plus 300. Jade, that maybe, but I don't think she's ready. Perhaps they just go for it. Who knows? Perhaps they just go for it. I think she'll be in the Rumble, but wow, that's high. That's higher than I thought. Raquel at plus 600, Bianca at plus 900. That feels quite wide. That's 9-1. That feels quite wide. Nia Jax at plus 1,000. Asuka at plus 1,200. Surely Asuka's odds should be shorter than that. I know it's unlikely, but surely it should be shorter than that. I kind of feel like that's quite wide. So that's how the women's is shaping up. Amazingly, Bailey is not favourite. It is Becky that's favourite at the moment. And then we've got the undercard match. So the Universal Championship, Roman Reigns minus 3,000. And you might be thinking, what the flip does that mean? Well, it means that if you want to win $100, you would have to bet $3,000 on Roman just to win 100. That's how much of a favourite he is. That's how much of a favourite Roman is to leave the Royal Rumble as champion. You would have to bet $3,000 just to win 100. Randy is plus 900, so if you bet 100 and Randy wins, you would get 1,000 back. AJ Styles is plus 1,000, so if you bet 100, you'd get 1,100 back. And LA Knight is plus 1,000 again, you'd get 1,100 back if LA Knight was to win. So Roman Reigns, far and away, heavy favorite according to the bookies to retain his championship. I mean, honestly, if you are adamant, absolutely adamant, like you just, no one is going to change your mind that Randy Orton is winning, that is amazing odds. That is amazing. Like you could bet $100 and have $1,000 back if you are correct. Like that is that these odds are just a gift from the gods. If you really believe that Randy's leaving with that belt, that is a gift from the gods. But Roman at minus 3,000, that is definitely not a gift from the gods. And the United States Championship, Logan Paul minus 2,000. So again, you'd have to bet $2,000 just to win 100. So heavy favorite, but not as heavy as Roman. Kevin Owens at plus 700. That means if you bet 100, you would get 700 back. Well, actually 800, because you'd get your 100 as well. So I hope that's been explained. But yeah, that's the top end of the odds right now. That's what people are looking at. That's what people are expecting. I'm disappointed about TNA last night, said Dark Angel. Okay. Of the people who showed up, I could believe that they would show up. Yeah, I didn't think there was anything that was too shocking. I mean, I suppose Dolph Ziggler showing up in TNA is a little bit of a surprise, only because does that mean he's not going to AEW? Because when he showed up because he showed up in New Japan first, and immediately I was like, yep, no brainer, because he'll do New Japan and he'll do AEW. They've got a relationship, lovely, bish bash bosh. So him showing up in TNA, I would say, is not an earth-shattering surprise, but it does now make me wonder and question, what's the situation there? Like, is he not going to be working AEW? Because to my knowledge, there's not a relationship between TNA and AEW right now. Like, I don't think their relationship they had worked out very well before. You don't see like superstars like being shared around anymore. You don't see like the Impact TNA titles coming over to AEW. You don't see Tony Khan being on TNA. So I don't think there's a relationship where he may have negotiated himself into a situation where he's like, listen, I'll come into AEW, but I want you to know that I want to work New Japan, I want to work TNA, I want to work everywhere. I don't want to be limited where I'm working. So I will absolutely work for AEW, but I want to be allowed to work in these other promotions as well. So I'm not saying that he's not going to be in AEW. I'm just saying that it was an interesting development from that point of view, just because I'm not aware of a relationship. So it does make me wonder, is he not going to do AEW? Because that, you know, they're the second biggest promotion. So for him to leave the first biggest, WWE, and not go to the second biggest, that is strange. That is interesting. That would be a talking point. Why did they not move for him? Or why did he turn them down? That would be something that I would like to get an answer on. But we'll have to see, because he could still show, because he may have negotiated himself into that position. But Dana Brooke showing up, no, that wasn't really a big surprise. Xia Li was already known. And I would say Jack Perry going to New Japan was the biggest surprise, which I actually think is a really good move. It's a really good move because, to be honest, I don't know how the Japanese crowd would react to him. Don't know how the Japanese crowd would react, but I feel like him going over there, starting anew, starting afresh, and actually being away from the American fans, like building himself up, like really getting a different taste of the wrestling industry. Because I don't know that he's been over in Japan. He may have. People might go, oh no, he spent a year in Noah or something. I have no idea. But whether he has or if he hasn't, I don't think he has. It's still going to be great for his development. So I think whilst it's quite hot, whilst it's we're uncertain as to what the reactions are going to be, that's like a really good landing place for him. I wonder if that's something Jericho could do. Well, I didn't see Battle of the Belts or even hear much about it, but Jericho did compete, and I don't know the reaction that he got. I know that on Dynamite, they kept playing his music or something. I heard that Tommy talking about it on his watch along. They kept playing his entrance music, so he came out and they just kept playing his music. I don't think he was officially in the match at the time, but he made an appearance and they just didn't turn the music off. So that meant that the crowd were singing the song and didn't get a chance to boo him after. So I don't know what the reaction was like at Battle of the Belts. The fact I haven't heard anything would suggest it was fine. It was probably just okay. But that could be a way forward for him as well. If he wants to get away from the American fan base and kind of go over to Japan and have like some matches over there, and it's kind of interesting, isn't it? I never thought about that. Jack Perry going over to New Japan has blown my mind, because all of a sudden now you go, oh yeah, of course. Why aren't we sending certain people over to New Japan? Why aren't they doing that? Why aren't AEW doing that? Why are they not sending people over there to get them away from the American fans and get them away from, I don't know, whatever's going on, and put them in a different location, in a different place with different opponents? Because, again, you know, it's worth stressing that Jericho has not been found guilty of anything. But we know that we live in a world where allegations can be made and you are deemed guilty, right? No, I'm not saying that Jericho's not guilty. I'm not saying that he's an innocent man. I'm not saying anything. All I'm saying is what I've said all along from the very beginning, and that is that I would want it investigated. But the thing is, whilst it's being investigated, it seems like the fans are not willing to wait for the results. You know, he was getting booed. They were making their feelings known. And if it's going to remain uncomfortable, then maybe he could go over to New Japan. To be crystal clear, though, if that investigation is concluded and wrongdoing is found, you know, I'm not saying move him to New Japan to get away from it. I'm just saying, whilst the investigation is happening, you know, could he go over there and just continue with his career and maybe not get as hostile of a crowd reaction, right? But if he is found guilty, then of course we need to throw the full weight of the law behind him, whatever that might be, whatever it is he's guilty of. Then, you know, you'd want to see justice being served, wouldn't you? So I think that Jack Perry going over there was really interesting. It started getting me thinking about, who else could you send over there? Like, who else could you develop over there? Maybe it'd be good for Garcia to go over there. I feel like Garcia has got a wrestler in him, but for some reason we just can't unlock that in AEW. We just can't find a way forwards. There are people that I think have grown in AEW. Swerve has done brilliant in AEW. I think Swerve has really come through. Jamie Hayter has done really well in AEW. Tony Storm with this new gimmick, I think, is doing some really interesting stuff. But then you've got people like Powerhouse Hobbs. You've got people like maybe Wardlow, but we'll see what this Undisputed Kingdom looks like. Daniel Garcia, you know. Takeshita's interesting because he definitely feels a bigger star. I'd never even heard of him. So the fact that I know who he is and I've seen him have some good matches means that we've definitely done some good stuff. But could there be even more room for growth if they were sent on excursion? Because that's what they do in New Japan. They send people to Mexico. They send people to England. They send people to America. They send people around the world to make them better wrestlers. AEW could do exactly the same. And that might be what they've done with Jungle Boy. So I thought it was really interesting. Really, really interesting. Christy, shout out to you, said, I love the LOL videos. Great stream. Chris, thank you, my friend. LOL videos are still happening. I think I've only got up to number 20. I've actually got up to 33 edited. I've got scripts written up to 50. I've got you lot providing me ideas, and a few ideas I had my own, which I could write scripts on that could get me to 100, right? So I've got so much work done and to be done that LOL videos can continue. The problem I've had with the LOL videos is that I've been ill, so I've not been able to like get them uploaded for a few weeks, so they kind of fell out of their schedule. The other thing as well is that a couple of them, I think it's about 2, got completely removed and another 2 got demonetized. And it's because if you use like footage in them, and even though that footage was like kept short and was, you know, I thought within fair use, you know what, it's just software in it. It's not, it doesn't appear that someone sat down and actually judged it. It's just that there's bots, there's software, there's, you know, algorithms that just check videos that if they find something, bang, they flag it. And that's it, right? Clearly, there's too many videos to have someone sitting there on YouTube just going through every video, right? So I think it's just been flagged. So it's just like, oh, God, I don't want that to happen for future bits. So now I'm having to go back and look at the old... Oh, it's a mess. So they are still coming, but the rate of them is going to have slowed. And... yeah, they will continue, though. But that's my battle with them at the moment. That's why they've just slowed temporarily. So I'm glad you enjoy them, Chris. I enjoy making them. I think they're good. I think there's definitely a place on the channel for them. But they are, you know, they sit with the streams. They sit with the unseen videos. They sit with the news videos. Like, we've been doing some good work recently, like getting some content out, you know. And we'll continue to do that as well. I really want to do other videos, but this has been the first week of me being back after my Christmas cold, which really derailed me for a couple of weeks. So this has been my first week back, really. So we'll get there. Delwyn said, Daze, hope your voice is getting better by now. basically 100%. But other than, actually, my voice is fine. My nose is still just slightly blocked. I mean, it's all of like 5%, if that. I don't feel like I have to blow my nose anymore, or like it's not running, or I don't have to take any medication, or I don't need to sleep, or I haven't got to rest my voice, or none of that. But yeah, big thank you to everyone that bared with us during that time. That was not brilliant over the Christmas period, but that's what happens when you have family coming round and they bring all their germs. So I never want to see my family again. Getting better by now. Ready for tomorrow's Raw? Absolutely. If something crazy happens, or if not, I hope you are ready for the Rumble as well. I am ready and I am excited, said Delwyn. Dude, I'm ready for tomorrow. I think we did a good breakdown of that in the first 15 minutes of this stream. I was born ready for the Rumbles. I mean, we've done... How many Rumbles have we done? I think we did 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. This is going to be, I think, like 5th or 6th Rumble watch-along. So, we, you know, we've been there, we've done it, we've got the T-shirt. We know what to expect. It's coming up, obviously, very, very soon. On the channel, though, we've got a big UFC show first. So a big UFC show this weekend, UFC 297, which I need to get set up. And then the Rumble is actually the week after that. So we've got 2 big Saturdays coming up on the channel. And of course, all the Raws, the SmackDowns, they're going to be big as we build to the Rumble. And NXT is still quietly cooking away, doing some fun stuff. Although I will say, it kind of feels like they are in a bit of a slumber at the moment. Like they're still doing some fun stuff, but I didn't feel that Tuesday's show was like all that. Again, just being honest. And actually, I've got the show scores, so you don't even need to hear from me. You don't even need to hear from me. You can hear from the community, right? Because we've got the show scores, which we're saving now. And I know that many of you have heard this, but if you don't join the streams, or you haven't been joining the Raw streams, the SmackDown streams, we've been voting on the shows and voting on the matches, and we have got a good list now. We've got a good list that's come together in regards to the shows and the matches. So here are the show scores for the year so far, and for the tail end of last year. So it's not the biggest list, but you can see there's a good few weeks of data there. And it is the 14th today. So NXT was the 9th. And you can see, looks all the way down here. All the way down here. So I didn't think NXT was that great on Tuesday, and neither did you lot. It's actually the worst rated normal episode ever. Which isn't saying much because we haven't got that much data. But these ones down here, these were the 2 best of episodes, so they're not applicable, they don't count. But if we actually just look at normal shows, then the NXT from Tuesday is the lowest rated show. And actually the NXT the week before that, which I think this was New Year's Evil, that was just one place above it. So that did not fare much better. NXT has done some good stuff, like Boxing Day, you know, was in the greats. The weeks leading up to it was there. But it just seems like these couple of weeks in 2024 just really struggling a little bit at the moment. So it's really good to have this information. And this isn't me. This is you. You have voted this. These are your votes that have come through on our polls that we do. So you can see that this is the best. The 11th of December is the best Raw. The best show overall was the 9th of December. So we were killing it that weekend. That weekend, you lot were absolutely loving it. And then we've got obviously the first Raw on the 1st. So I think that was The Rock. So you can see right up there, right amongst it. And so far, unfortunately, I know I should have started this years ago. I hate myself more than you do. And I know that this should just be full of like pay-per-views. We weren't doing it, so I don't have it. But you can see the highest rated pay-per-view so far is NXT No Mercy. 2023. You lot really enjoyed that show. More so than Fastlane, more so than Payback, more so than SummerSlam, more so than Crown Jewel, more so than Deadline, No Mercy, all the way up there. So some really, really interesting data coming through. Love that we're doing that. And I've got all the matches of this year so far in a list as well. I won't bore you with that because I want to get back to the chat, but we're doing some good stuff at the moment. Some good stuff, good data that we're collecting. So Darwin, I am ready, and I'm pleased to hear you're ready as well. Luke Whitehouse Show said, I love Y2J and I'm going to go see Fozzy next month in my town. Well, have a great time, my friends. I am a big believer in innocent till proven guilty. I don't like this trial by social media stuff. I think it's too easy for haters, trolls, fake accounts to just come up with allegations and seemingly people just believe it. And it just makes me feel very uncomfortable. But I'm not saying that clearly I'm not saying the Jericho stuff. I'm not referring to that in particular because Kaylee Ray did leave a heart emoji and blah, 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 right? But just in general, I'm talking in general, it just makes me feel uncomfortable. Don't like it. Like, someone makes an allegation, could be a troll. And certainly where we've got this tribalism as well, Like, you could totally see, like, a WWE fan making a fake account and then putting an allegation out there against an AEW talent. Like, you could totally see that. There's people that are so fired up in this war, this tribalistic war, that I really would not put that past people to do that. So it just makes me nervous, makes me uncomfortable. So yeah, I don't know where the truth is. I don't know what happened. But I would say that we need to get an investigation and we need to have a look into it. I was disappointed that we didn't get anything like that out of Tony. He got asked the question and he obviously skirted around it, and I sort of get why, because you don't want to say anything incriminating, you don't want to make it worse, you really have to kind of dodge it, really. I get it. That wasn't the forum, wasn't the place for him to say anything, and I just have to hope that they are looking into it behind the scenes, or it has been investigated behind the scenes. Don't know. Tricky one. James said, for me personally, my match of the year is Okada against Danielson at Wrestle Kingdom. Christopher said, have you heard that CM Punk will be at Elimination Chamber in Australia and rumoured to be having a match with Drew? Thoughts? It's been announced that he's going to be at Elimination Chamber. We don't know as to who the match is going to be against, but the fact that he's been doing that promo with Drew would certainly put Drew as the front runner. And actually, there is another promo that Drew put online. So, again, we can just jump over to that because I actually thought I had that one lined up, but I don't. But there is a promo that Drew has put out on social media. WWE have retweeted it. And I can't quite remember word for word what he says. I mean, I feel like we could just play it, to be honest. Because it's just something he filmed on his phone. It's not like WWE. Here it is.
Tonight's live event, and guess who's not here? The same person that claimed on Monday they would lead by example. CM Punk. Don't be a hypocrite, mate. Leading by example would suggest you're outworking everyone, and we both know that's not true. I look at you and see the same old Punk. Very big name, very good, and here to make money, not friends. Your words, not mine. That's the truth, and that's okay. Check my schedule these last few years. Very few come close to the amount of live events, TV, media, high-level media you can only trust so many people with. Community work, I'm very proud to be the global ambassador for Special Olympics. All that stuff, that's setting an example. And I do it, not because I have to, simply because I love it. And maybe check my work outside of WWE. I evolved, grew business everywhere. It got to the point where WWE started investing in multiple places where I was champion, and it finally became clear to me, I guess it's time to go back home and finish what I started as a kid. You insert big name into company and get some attention, lots of attention, and that's okay. Just own it. That's your role. Back in the day, you were a lot of negative things, so many negative things that are going to be talked about soon enough when it's time. You were also a workhorse. Now, not so much. And that's okay. You'll serve your purpose, and I will eliminate you in the Royal Rumble for both in there together, because no one's going to stop me finally having the moment I have earned. Especially you. Oh, and if you actually did some research, maybe you wouldn't have said something as ignorant as I'm not known for my talking. I'm pushed. I can even overshadow the best in the world. Smiling, cheesy Drew is dead. Drew McIntyre's back.
It's amazing, isn't it? I love that. Smiling, cheesy Drew is dead. I love that. Oh my God. I mean, I wanted him to say that so long ago. Smiling, cheesy Drew is dead. I mean, yeah, it definitely feels like it's going in that direction. I mean, honestly, I do look at that and I'm like, man, if Drew eliminated CM Punk, then that sets up like a match elimination chamber super easily. Or if they eliminate each other, you know. I mean, I suppose CM Punk could eliminate Drew. Drew could then have an issue with CM Punk, and you know, we could get that way. But I did see someone on social media saying, what if we do CM Punk Drew at Elimination Chamber, and if Drew wins, he gets added to the main event of WrestleMania? Again, I don't want that. Stop trying to make everything triple threats, right? I don't want that. But I did look at that and think, well, yeah, you could do that. So if CM Punk went on to win the Rumble, Seth remains as champion, and then Drew gets eliminated by CM Punk, which then leads to the Elimination Chamber. You could just do it as a normal match, or you could put that stipulation into it. But I would be keeping everything across that CM Punk just beat him and we did not get the triple threat. So, yeah, I agree. I think that is definitely the direction it feels like it is flowing in. Aseeb said, in my opinion, Jay is next for Gunther. He'll beat Gunther. Then it'll be Jimmy for the title at Mania. Jay is probably the biggest star on Raw, not doing anything significant. Trini said, I didn't like the jab at Top Dollar calling him flop, but otherwise the whole show was good. AEW should be worried. Trini, hope you're feeling better. Drew was channeling his inner me, said James. Well, I don't know. Someone bleeped it. Someone bleeped the swear in there. I've never heard your swearing get bleeped. So I think Drew was channeling his inner James Chadwick. It's just that Drew also seems to have someone with access to a bleep machine. I would imagine James also had a bleep machine, but I would imagine it exploded. I'd imagine it gave up. You know what I mean? Like, there's only so much that it's willing to do. Alex Bliss Gamer said, did you have fun with Tommy's mom last night? Listen, I have fun with Tommy's mom every night, Alexa Bliss Gamer. Damon said, give me Roman Reigns, give me Psycho Dad, give me Jesse Monday Night Raw. I want Mac Hay with Mac's table match. I don't even know what that means. Bishop said, I've got a quick question. What are your thoughts on micro wrestling? Is that like midget wrestling? Again, I don't know what terminology you're allowed to use, but we did have like a midget wrestler that was on, and the company he worked for referred to them as midgets. So I don't think that's disrespectful. I don't believe it's disrespectful. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I genuinely don't know what it's meant to be called. Are you telling me like that micro is what they call it in certain places now? I want to have a look actually. Yeah, I mean straight away, look, extreme midget wrestling, king midget. So, I mean, it is still being referred to as midget wrestling, or certainly in certain places. I mean, there's one here called dwarf wrestling. It says all about midget mayhem. So, again, not being disrespectful, I genuinely don't know in 2024 what you're meant to say. But what are my thoughts on it? I think it's brilliant. I've got no issue with it whatsoever. I think that there's a place for it, because those people that suffer from dwarfism or any kind of growth disability, those people still love wrestling. They're still people that still love wrestling, that still have a passion for this, that still want to compete in this. And so in order for that to be possible, you'd have to think that they're really going to have to go up against people of their own size, just like when we did Hornswoggle against El Torito. It's if ever you do like a micro midget wrestler against a normal size wrestler, then it's normally just a bit of a joke thing. But actually, these people are capable of great skill, great athletic ability, and I think in order for that to really show and be competitive, they probably do have to face each other. To me, it's no different than heavyweights facing other heavyweights, flyweights facing other flyweights. It's just we're going down to maybe the lowest weight we can get to, We're going down to the smallest people we can get to. So to me, it's no different than a featherweight division, a lightweight division. This is a midget division. It's a micro division. That's how I would look at it. So yeah, I don't know why anyone would have an issue with it. I don't know why people would have a problem with it. These are people that love wrestling, that want to express themselves, that want to show that they can do it. And if they're doing it against people of a similar size, how is that any different than two flyweights going up against each other in UFC? How is that any different than two featherweights going against each other? This is two micro midget wrestlers going up against each other. And actually, WLC was so well received. That's actually a LOL video that's coming up. So Hornswoggle El Torito in the WLC. People love that match. So much fun. And there was some brilliant athletic ability on display during that contest. So yeah, people really, really loved that. And understandably so, because it really was a lot of fun. It was very enjoyable. Mattel even released a pack with both of them, and tables and chairs and loads of accessories. They released this special WLC pack. It's great. So yeah, I'm a fan. Sign me up. I mean, the only reason that I probably wouldn't go is the same reason that I don't really go to local wrestling, because I just don't know any of them, Like, if there was, like, some star power, if there was some names, like, if Hornswoggle was there, and El Torito, and, maybe if we'd found a way of getting some other midget micro wrestlers onto TV, then maybe, like, that star power might convince me to go. In the past, historically, they were always used as in, like, comedic roles. Comedy roles, they used to be in WWE a little bit, so we used to have them as like attractions, and we used to have women as attractions as well. Like, the bread and butter of WWE, WWF was the men and male singles wrestlers, and then we would bring in the occasional midget match, we'd bring in the occasional women's match, like we'd bring in these occasional matches just as a, an attraction. Same as like bringing in, I don't know, Andre the Giant as an attraction. So at WrestleMania 3, I believe it was, or was it? Yeah, 3. King Kong Bundy taking on, was it Junkyard Dog? And we had like lots of midget wrestlers in there with them. And actually Bundy ended up dropping an elbow on one of them, which resulted in him not wrestling again. Which is not a great story, but yeah, and obviously Dink. Oh my God, loved Dink. Who didn't love Dink back in the day with Doink? Oh my God, that was so good, so good. Do you know what? Actually, if you got a micro midget wrestler and had them hang around with R-Truth, like that would just be amazing. That'd be brilliant. Like, you could have so much comedy out of that. That could be a real. Maybe when the Judgment Day stuff has run its course, I think there's definitely a place for a comedic, like, Hornswoggle type person again. We had Dink before as well, so yeah, man, I love it, all for it. Apparently there is extra pyro getting ready for tomorrow. What can that mean? Said Watson. Don't know. It could just mean big entrances. Could mean, don't know. I mean, instantly you would think new champion, but it doesn't necessarily have to mean that. So we'll have to wait and see. Seeb said, hopefully TNA go back to extreme things like they did back in the day. Dort Knight said, it's not cool to say Star Wars these days, but nothing compares to watching that as a kid. It's not cool to say Star Wars, isn't it? It's not cool to say Star Wars. Are you sure? It's everywhere, isn't it? Isn't it like Mandalorian and everything on TV? Ethan said, Wrestling Daze, what would be your favourite match from The Undertaker and Randy Orton feud, just out of curiosity? Oh, God, I don't know that I've got one, to be honest. I mean, that was a long feud. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed his dad being a part of it as well. And obviously, you know, there was fire that was being set, and there was lots of twists and turns in that feud, but I don't know that I've got a favourite match from that. I thought you were just going to ask me my favourite Undertaker match in general. But, yeah, it's a feud that I enjoyed. I think it's a feud that was good for Randy. Came at a good time for him as well. His dad, as we said, heavily involved in it, and it's always good to see the legends come back. And certainly, this is something I'm excited for Triple H, because the legends, I think... the legends don't always get used very well on those reunion shows. And I am hopeful under Triple H that when legends come back, we're going to start to see them get treated better. Probably talking of Randy, the one that people talk about the most is, you remember when Big Show was backstage and like Mark Henry, and he was like running them down, and like they didn't really add anything much to the show other than it just got some heat on Randy Orton. That's one that people keep bringing up. And I kind of feel like it would be great if the legends were just used a little bit better than they had been. And actually, it was brilliant seeing Randy's dad kind of being involved in that storyline. And I thought it was a good way of using him. So I'm hopeful under Triple H that we're going to see some better legends moments, you know. The one I always loved was Jake the Snake coming out, and that was actually 10 years ago, pretty much around this time. 10 years now since we did like a Raw Legends show, and it was like CM Punk and some other people I forget in a main event match against The Shield, and then Jake the Snake came out and made his way down to the ring and ended up putting the snake on Dean Ambrose. And it was cool. It was a great flashback moment. It was a great way of like him coming out into the arena. It wasn't like a backstage thing. It was just done really, really well. So I've got high hopes that we'll be using Legends better. James said, I love Twister and Dante's Peak. I always have to watch them when they're on TV. Oh, Twister the film. Yeah, I've never seen Dante's Peak, you know. Watson said, there's a moment in the WLC where Jinder knocks over the ref. It's the funniest moment of all time. Cowboy Bob should win the Rumble, said Corgus. Maybe the extra pyro could be used for Cody, as he is going to be on the cover of the next game. Maybe it could be that's announced, said Watson. Maybe. I've got another question. What would be your favorite faction out of Evolution, Legacy, New Day, or Judgment Day? Well, my answer would be the Shield. I think my Shield are my favorite faction. I don't think Judgment Day are that good. I think Judgment Day, you know, Dominic is not... he takes a lot of L's, Dominic. Judgment Day have to help him out a lot. He's a bit of just a meme. Do you know what I mean? He's kind of like... I don't feel any emotion towards Dominic. Like, I don't feel any hatred to Dominic. It's just the fans enjoy booing him. I think that Rhea is a massive star. I think that Finn is, unfortunately, just being used in a lot of things that aren't around titles. Like, for me, he should be a multiple... Finn Balor, I mean, when he first came in, felt like he was going to be a multiple-time world champion, and the Demon was going to be the biggest thing we'd ever seen. You know, the Demon down in NXT, I mean, it was exciting when Finn was going to use the Demon, and I have no idea, literally no idea, why all of that got canned. So I find Finn at the moment to be fine. He's fine. But I find his character to be a bit frustrating. Because this is not the Finn I was sold when he first came in. When he first came into NXT, and he was like, he was cool, and if he needed to, he had the Demon. All of that, you were like, oh my God, this guy's going to kill it on the main roster. How has he only been a world champion for 24 hours? How has that happened? How has that happened? And that was that was 8 years ago. That was back in 2016. He had 24 hours with a Universal Championship back in 2016, and he hasn't had it since. And I don't get it. So Judgment Day, I think, it's been something for him to do. But I still feel like there's just this great untapped potential with Finn. I feel like Finn is still nowhere near where he should be. So Judgment Day is, in my humble opinion, has not brought out the best in Finn Balor. Damian Priest has definitely benefited, but Damian Priest doesn't feel to me like a world champion. If you're telling me Finn Balor has only had the title for 24 hours, Damian Priest doesn't feel like world champion. He doesn't feel interesting enough to be a world champion to me. Like, honestly, he might succeed with this cash-in, but I really don't know how good his reign is going to be. I don't know. And to be honest, if it turns out that he fails with his cash-in, I don't even know if I'd be that surprised. And then you've got Dominic, who just, it's fun to boo him. And Rhea's awesome. Rhea's awesome. Rhea really is awesome. She's easily the best part of that group. So Judgment Day, I understand why you would include them, because they're the biggest group around right now. Certainly since the Bloodline, dwindled. But they don't hold a candle to the likes of the New Day or the Shield or even Evolution, you know. I think DX have to be mentioned. So DX would be the faction I probably enjoyed the most, but not actually when it was the New Age Outlaws. The DX I enjoyed was the comedy DX from like the 2008, 2009 DX reunion, where it was just Triple H, Shawn, Hornswoggle was in as well for a bit. I enjoyed that. DX invading with the Tank was good. DX in 97 was good, but DX without Shawn always felt like something big was missing to me. I love Shawn though, so to me, like DX, like in late 97, going into early 98, or DX when Shawn's back, I'll take those. But yeah, for me, if I was to pick like a faction, an out-and-out faction, I think you're hard pushed to say anyone other than the Shield. Look at what they went on to do. I mean, you've got Seth, you've got Roman, you've got Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose is Jon Moxley, obviously, over in AEW. I mean, they beat pretty much everyone. They absolutely dominated the show. They were cool. They didn't outstay their welcome. You could maybe mark them down for not being around longer, because they debut at the end of 2012. They're done by mid-2014. A lot of people think the Shield were around for ages. They weren't. They debut at Survivor Series 2012. They're done by mid-2014. That ain't that long. That ain't that long at all. So I kind of feel that... in fact, I think Cody Rhodes has now been in WWE longer than the Shield were around. Yeah, definitely. He's been back in WWE. Granted, he had about 6 months out because of injury. But if you count the moment that he returned at WrestleMania 38 to where we are now, about to head into WrestleMania 40, that's longer than the Shield first run. So I would definitely be looking at the Shield. I'd be looking at DX. I'd be looking at New Day. But I think Shield would be the ones that get my nod. I think they'd be the ones. They were cool. They didn't really put a foot wrong. Just quickly on UFC, said Hasib, do you think they are struggling at the moment? To me, I'm not getting hyped for fights like I was before. Yes and no. I think they're struggling with big star power. I think there are still lots of interesting fights. Like, I'm really excited for Amanda Hebus against the Grows. I didn't see that had been announced, but I saw it was announced. So earlier today, it only got announced the other day, and I missed it. And I was like, oh yes, definitely down for that. It's going to be a main event of a fight night. So I'm like, yeah, I'm really, I love Thug Rose. So I'm definitely up for that. I think the UFC card's coming together well, but yes, it's missing its big bombshell main events. But we'll have to see what they produce for that. I think Strickland against Duplessis this weekend genuinely is going to be amazing. I think that Volkanovski against Topuria is going to be really good. So there's lots of great fights that you want to watch, things that are happening that are exciting, but it is missing the, where's the Khabibs, where's the Connors, where's the John Joneses, where's the Anderson Silvers? Like, do you know what I mean? Where's the Demetrius Johnsons? Where's the GSPs? Where's these big, massive superstar names, Even Adesanya, you could maybe say was getting around that level, but he's took a couple of L's recently, and I think that's kind of knocked his star power a little bit. And we don't see much of John Jones. We really don't see anything of Conor. Usman was always labelled a little bit boring. Even though he was winning, he was always labelled as a bit boring. Islam Makhachev could definitely go on to be a name, but and he is a name, but one of the all-time greats. But he's not had that many fights at like champion level, so he's got a bit more work to do. So there's potential there, and you've got people like Chimaev, who I think may go on to really establish himself. He's someone that definitely brings eyes to the product. Whenever he's fighting, we see our views go bang, really go through the roof, and as soon as his fight is over, they go bang right back down again. So it's clear he brings eyeballs. So if we're going to talk about star power, I feel like Chimaev is definitely someone we need to talk about. Islam Makhachev, I think, is someone we need to talk about. But yeah, I don't disagree. It does feel like something's missing. But I don't know how big of a problem that is, because they're doing really well. I mean, money-wise, the company's just raking it in. And they've got UFC 300 coming up, and there are some really good fights that are scheduled. So, yeah, even though I think it could be in a slightly better place, I don't think that it's a disaster. Let's get a few more, and then what we'll do is we'll get a couple more. So, a few more minutes, and then we're going to have a look at the Instagram posts. I always like doing this, so I always like to have a look at the Instagram pictures with you guys. We've got the 25 best Instagram pictures of the week, so we have run out of our hour time, so we'll get a few more comments, and then we'll jump over and have a look at those. Daze, please explain, if the pinnacle of WWE is to headline WrestleMania, why doesn't Damian Priest just put himself in the main event now to look strong instead of attacking and beat up the winner? I answered that the other day, Matt. I definitely answered that the other day. So all I can do is repeat what I said the other day, which is I don't think that main event in WrestleMania is the pinnacle. I think it's a pinnacle, but I don't think it's the pinnacle, because I think if you main event WrestleMania and you was never world champion, I've got to think that you are ending your career feeling that you didn't maximize your career. If you don't win the world title, then there is clearly more that you could have done. Equally, if you're a world champion, I think that you would want to have a WrestleMania main event under your belt as well. So I can't say that main event in WrestleMania is the pinnacle. I think it's a pinnacle. I think it sits alongside winning a championship. So why shouldn't Damian Priest announce it right now? Well, the answer's very clear. He's not been a world champion. He's not been a world champion, so he's not ticked that box off yet. So he may want to make sure that he wins a world championship. That might be more valuable to him than to main event WrestleMania. And the other thing as well is that if he announces, I'm going to main event WrestleMania, and here's my Money in the Bank contract, I want to be in the world title match, I think that would work. I think he could do that. But I don't think that it would be a one-on-one match. I think it would be a triple threat, because the winner of the Royal Rumble also has got the ability to choose what champion they face. So if Damian Priest says, I want to fight for the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania, right? First of all, he needs to hope that that match is going to be the main event, which it probably will if it's going to be Seth and CM Punk. But as of right now, Damian Priest doesn't know that that's what the match is going to be. There is a chance that the main event of night one is going to be Rhea against Becky. So he could cash in now and say, I want to compete for the World Heavyweight Championship. And that might not even be the main event, right? If he says, I want to cash in now and I want to face for the undisputed Universal Championship, well, again, as of right now, we don't know that Roman could lose that to Randy at the Royal Rumble. And all of a sudden, everything changes, because night one of WrestleMania could be Rhea versus Becky. Night two of WrestleMania could be Roman against The Rock with no title on the line. So Damian will have announced in advance, I want to fight for this title. And then that title might not end up main event in WrestleMania, right? So there's one problem. The other problem is the fact that if you do announce that I want to go for this title and then it does main event, you are giving your opponents fair warning, right? Which greatly reduces your chances of winning the title. Maybe that's not as much of a problem if you've been a world champion before, but Damian Priest hasn't. So I've got to think that he is interested in becoming champion, and the best way to do that is the element of surprise. It's not to announce, I want to face you on this date, right? That's not the best way forwards. And equally, if he wants to win the title, being in a one-on-one match is going to be, helpful. If he says, I want to face for the World Heavyweight Championship, and then CM Punk wins the Rumble and says, I want to face for the World Heavyweight Championship, and Seth is the heavyweight champion, all of a sudden, they're now all in a triple threat. And that ain't going to help Damian Priest either. So it doesn't make any sense for Damian Priest to do that, because it's not a guarantee that he's going to main event WrestleMania. The contract doesn't allow him to main event WrestleMania. It allows him to fight for a title. So he would have to be certain that that title was going to main event. And then he's also putting himself in a bad situation, which might mean that he isn't going to win the championship. So that's why he wouldn't do it, because it's not the right way forwards. It's better to have that element of surprise. Big Time said, how do you feel about the returning WWE, about Trinity returning? For me, if she comes in, it's cool. And Sasha really left a sour taste in my mouth with how they handled things. Happy for her, not crazy about it. Well, it's funny, I put a tweet out saying, I am not seeing people down on Trinity returning like I was for Mercedes. I think there's a reason for that. I think there's two reasons for that, and I will go through them. But I don't mind, right? It doesn't bother me in the slightest. I just thought it was really interesting that when that news was that Sasha has asked for a certain amount of money and she was in negotiations to return, there was a lot of negativity online, a lot of negativity. And I've not seen that around Trinity's return, right? Now, as I said, I think there's two reasons for it. The first reason is I think a lot of people look at Sasha as being the troublemaker, right? I think a lot of people look at Trinity as someone that followed Sasha's lead. And it wasn't necessarily Trinity that walked out. It was Trinity supporting her friend, but it was Mercedes that did the walking out, right? It wasn't Trinity that's like, I've had enough, and Mercedes followed. I think a lot of people believe that it was Mercedes that walked out and it was Trinity that followed, right? So I think that's one of the reasons. The other reason is that there's been no talk of Trinity's contract, so we don't know how much she's getting paid. For some reason, word did leak of what Mercedes wanted, and that seemed to upset people, right? Because she wanted a number that was, I think, more than what Charlotte had got. And I genuinely believe that there's people out there that think that she went into the negotiations and said, I want more than Charlotte, and like worded it that way. Because that's sort of how it was being reported, but it wasn't being reported that way. It's one of those where you, like, if you read the headline, you could probably get the wrong impression. If you read the article, you would have read something different. You know, she was asking for a certain amount of money. It just turned out that this was a higher number than what Charlotte has just been paid. I don't think she walked in there and said, give me more than Charlotte. I think she walked in there and said, I want X. And that news came out and seemed to really upset people. So I thought it was really interesting. Those are my theories as to why people reacted more negatively towards Mercedes' potential return than what I'm still. All I've seen with Naomi is she's coming back. I'm so excited to see you at the Rumble, Queen. All this kind of stuff. Completely different vibe to when Mercedes was rumored to be coming back. Completely different. So I put that out as a tweet, and I was like, "It's interesting. I got my theories as to why, and those are my theories as to why." But yeah, I don't. It doesn't bother me. I think that they had an issue. I think they tried to deal with it there and then. They couldn't get the resolution they wanted. They didn't think they were being respected. They didn't think they were being listened to. Right? All of these things can be true. For me, you do the match, you do the show, you do the match, you arrange a meeting, you have a crisis meeting, right? You say, Vince, I want to see you tomorrow, right? You don't walk out, you don't do anything like this. You just make it very clear, I want a meeting with you tomorrow, because I could have walked out tonight. I was close to walking out tonight. Maybe I should have walked out tonight, but I didn't. So I need to speak to you. Otherwise, I can't make any guarantees I'm here next week, right? I think walking out moments before the show starts, I just can't say that's the right thing to do. I just can't. I've never said it was the right thing to do. I don't think... I'm someone that really believes you honor contracts, and that has to work both ways. It has to work both ways. If we're going to have a go at WWE for releasing wrestlers from their contracts because of budget cuts, right? If we're going to have a go at WWE for giving out these contracts and then going, do you know what? Don't matter. Forget it. Budget cuts. And ripping them out. If we're going to have a go at WWE for doing that, then the other side of that coin is if someone's going to walk out whilst they're under a contract. It's the same thing. It's the different side of the same coin, right? They've got a contract. We expect you to show up here, work this date, do this, do that, blah, 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 blah. I ain't doing it. See you later. And they walk away. Like, maybe people are like, yeah, one for the little man type situation. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as, hang on, the contracts that should be honored. If you've negotiated these contracts, signed these contracts, I don't care if you're WWE, I don't care if you're the talent, I don't care what you are, who you are. You've signed it, you've agreed it, you work it, you do it, right? That's where I stand on it. That's where I've always stood on it. So I was really against the walkout from Sasha and Naomi. So I think that I'm coming from it from a place where I was down on them walking out. So you might think I'd be down on them coming back, but I'm not at all. And the reason why is because they've walked out. They've gone away. It's not a case that it's like a week later and now they're coming back. Like, to me, a lot of water went under the bridge. You might look at it and go, they should be punished for walking out. Well, they were. I mean, they walked out of a big contract and they've been gone for a long time. I mean, it's been like a year and a half. I mean, they walked out May of 2022. We're now sat here in January of 2024. So this was not a short incident. This was not something, you know, what benefit is it going to be if they come back and we suspend them? What benefit is that? That's only hurt in WWE. I mean, I feel like they've gone away. They, you know, it's up to WWE now. I think if WWE are willing to bring them back, that's it. The conversation is over. WWE are saying, we can make money from these people. We want to make money from these people. We understand what they did, but we're willing to kind of overlook it because we think there's a way forward. If WWE themselves as a company are looking at it that way, then I don't see why the fans can't look at it that way. So for me, a lot of water's gone under the bridge. The ball is in WWE's court, you know, because if they feel angry at what happened still, they don't have to bring them back. It's done, innit? They don't have to ever bring them back. WWE never have to touch Mercedes or Trinity again. There's no obligation. So if WWE were hurt and upset by what happened, they could walk away. But if they choose not to, then that says that WWE are in a different mindset. They're in a different place. They are not feeling slighted or hurt, or there's no baggage. You know, they're just excited about the future. They think money can be made. They think it's something the fans would enjoy. Blah, 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 blah. So I think if WWE is looking at it from that point of view, if WWE has got that mindset, then I don't see why the fans can't follow with the same way. So for me, I've got no problem. I'd love to see Trinity back. I'd love to see Mercedes back. I've got no issue with either of them returning. The only thing I would say is I really would like to see Mercedes against that Julia girl. So I didn't know anything about Julia, never seen Julia, never heard of Julia. But as soon as rumors came in that she was about to come to WWE, all I'm seeing now is people talk about Julia. Like, all of a sudden my timeline is just everyone standing pictures of Julia, because people are trying to get ahead of the curve, and they're trying to be in the know, and they're trying to educate themselves and educate other people, and all of that is fine. It's been helpful, actually, because I didn't have a flip who she was. So I've been seeing lots of clips of her, images of her, interviews of her. I mean, my timeline's flooded, honestly. People, like, it's like this gift from the gods has just been delivered, right? She's a good-looking, young, highly trained female wrestler who just feels like she's going to be, you know, the next big thing. I would love to see her against Mercedes, and we've not had that match. So I don't know if when Julia goes to WWE, but if she does come in, which is expected, then yeah, I'd love to see Mercedes coming. So that's a match I really want to see now. I want to see Mercedes against Julia. I'd love to see Bianca against Julia. I'd love to see Asuka against Julia. Like, I must admit, I have seen quite a bit of her now, and I am really impressed with what I've seen. So she finished second on the, I think it's only recently, PWI 250, the top 250 women's wrestlers in the world. Now, PW Illustrated thing, this top 250, you've got to take it with a pinch of salt, right? The reason why I say that is because it's not done on ability. It's done on achievement. So if you are a women's champion in a big promotion, you will be highly ranked. It's got nothing, like Julia Hart, to me, is someone that should be in NXT. She is the mid-card champion in AEW. That means she will be recognized within the top 100, right? To me, I reckon I could find 1,000 women better than Julia Hart, right? She is someone that's got great potential, but she's someone that's... Did you see the other day? I don't know if you saw the clip. So on Dynamite the other week, they did this multi-woman match. And they all got in the ring to try and suplex each other. So you had a row of the heels and you had a row of the baby faces, and they all kind of locked up, and it was going to be this multi-person suplex. Julia Hart ran in the ring and went on the wrong team. She ran into the ring. There's this great clip of her running into the ring. She gets round, links arms with the person next to her, so she's ready to do this big multi-person suplex, and then realizes, oh, I'm on the wrong side, and so she has to shift her. Did make me laugh. It did make me laugh. Imagine that. Imagine you're battling away and you run in the ring, and all of a sudden, imagine during World War II, you're battling away against the Germans, and then all of a sudden you look around and you're like, oh my god, I'm in the wrong trench. I'm in the wrong trench. Oh my god, you're the bad guys. You're the bad guys. So she came in and ran on the wrong team. So, no shade on her. I know it seems like I throw shade on her a lot. She just, to me, is not ready for the position that she's in. But, yeah, that was funny. That was a funny clip, man. That was a really, really funny clip. I don't even know the original point we were making. But it was good. If you get a chance to see that, I would definitely recommend that you check that out. It really did make me laugh. That really did make me laugh. Did you see Dana Brooke's Impact debut? I did. I saw a clip of that as well. And I thought that she was a bit strange. I mean, she looked very different, and she had that Ash by Elegance name. Yeah, the point we were making, before, was that Julia Hart's champion, so she'll make it quite high on that list. Even though I don't think that she belongs up there. So you've got to take it with a pinch of salt. But on that list, they had Rhea Ripley at number 1. They had Julia at number 2. Julia was number 2 in that list. So she's been, I think she's been the New Japan Strong Women's Champion, or some kind of Stardom Women's Champion. She's been some champion for a while. But we still never had her against Mercedes. We were building towards it. But we never quite got there because of Mercedes' injury. Wrestling said, what if Trinity saves Roman at the Rumble, joins the Bloodline, and then they feud with Lashley's team? Could be great. I'd love to see her with Jimmy and see her in the Bloodline. Lashley's team would be B-Fab, Street Profits, and Bobby. That would be Roman, Solo, Jimmy. I mean, numbers wise it works. The only thing is Roman's not expected to be at Elimination Chamber, and so I don't know. I mean, I suppose you have got a few dates that you could kill, but it doesn't feel like we're going to be able to do that in time. Unless we just do Solo Jimmy against Street Profits, or Solo Jimmy Naomi against Street Profits and B-Fab at Elimination Chamber, and we just don't have Roman and Bobby involved. But I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be difficult, isn't it? Because I don't know how many appearances we're going to get from Roman between the Rumble and WrestleMania. And clearly, appearances we do get, we need to build his WrestleMania main event. So I think there's potential for us to do something like that maybe after WrestleMania, but it might be a bit difficult before WrestleMania just because of Roman's limited appearances. So yeah, big time. I did see Dana Brooke. She's called Ash by Elegance, and I don't even know what that means. I'm intrigued by it. But it does feel a little Toni Storm. Like, she was quite glamorous. There seemed to be like an assistant with her. She's called Ash by Elegance. I don't know, that makes me think of a perfume, like Ash by Elegance. And she did kind of present herself in a very elegant way. Different Tony, who's like a 1930s movie star type thing, but she's obviously very elegant as well. And she's got like, you know, Luther, like some sort of butler. So I could see some similarity there. So I hope it's going to be very different. Interested to see kind of what they do with her going forwards. I like Dana Brooke. I think her heart's in the right place. She might not be someone that's like a naturally gifted female wrestler, but I think she's someone that will always give her best. She's someone that I think genuinely loves this, wants to do this, wants to be a part of this. And a lot of people might look at that and go, yeah, but she's just not good enough for this level. And I suppose in a cold way, you might not be wrong, but I've got real respect for people that grind and work and want to do this and put that effort in, you know? And I think that she is someone that's been around for a long time as well. I mean, she really has put the work in. She's done a lot of house shows. She's been involved in WWE for a long time. I don't know when she made her debut, but it's got to have been about 2015. It's got to have been around that time. I feel like since I very first got the network, I feel like it wasn't long till I saw her debut. In fact, let's look. I would say 2015, which would mean that she'd been around for like 9 years. 2013, apparently. Oh, okay. So she signed in 2013, but she made her TV debut in 2015. So April 15th, 2015, she made her debut. But she'd actually been signed since 2013. This is a girl that's dedicated 11 years of her life. 11 years to WWE. And I got respect for that. So even though a lot of people throw shade on her and say that she wasn't all that, like, I got respect for the work that she put in. So I really, really wish her all the best, and I hope that Impact TNA can bring something really good out of her that's going to entertain people and maybe change that perspective that some people have got of her of just being, you know, useless, the waste of space. Because I think there's something there, but I also don't disagree. You know, I saw enough of her to see that there were limitations. I'll be honest, I couldn't give a toss about Dana. I never saw her in WWE. She's a jobber for life, but I hope she does well, says Big Time. Right, let's go. I said we were going to do this looking at the Instagram thing, which I really do want to do because I do enjoy looking at the images. I think there's some fun ones as well. So let's jump over. So here we are with this week's Instagram images. These are the top 25, and you can see this first one, which I've seen before, actually. This is Xavier Woods showing off his 3DS video game collection. I don't know if it's every 3DS game, and actually this picture doesn't quite do it justice because that table is absolutely full. There is, I don't know if it was on up, up, down, down, but he really does kind of show you the collection. I think there's like Japanese exclusives and just like super rare items in there as well. I mean, you can see even the one on the table is in like a protector. I mean, that's when you know you've got a problem, when you are putting video games into like protective sleeves and everything rather than just buy in to play them. So, but he's always obviously been just such a massive fan of video games. I suppose it's not too surprising he's got this collection, but you can see other images that kind of show it off better than this one. I saw this as well doing the rounds, actually. I sort of like this image. It feels a little bit personal. Kind of feels like they just jumped into a photo booth and had their picture took together. It doesn't feel as showy as what you might see from another Instagram picture. This one feels a little more personal, so not loads to say about it. Just feels a bit more natural, not as forced. It's just nice, isn't it? It's just a nice image of Bianca and Montez, so very cool. I didn't even know who that was for a second then, but it looks like Cameron Grimes, and it's Cameron Grimes. That is quite the outfit. There's so many WWE superstars that enjoy their football, and I mean, all I see on Angelo Dawkins' social media is him just retweeting so much stuff about football games. He absolutely lives for it. I didn't realize that Cameron Grimes was that way as well, actually, but here he is. He's a big fan of the Beehawks. He loves the Beehawks. So there he is with his dungarees and his Beehawk logo. So God bless him. And I hope the Beehawks do very well. This is Candice LeRae. I've seen this picture before as well. Looks quite wet and rainy, isn't it? I mean, just not a very good day in Disney, but that is her after she's done some Disney fun run thing, and I think that's just her friend, sister, don't know. Those pants that she's wearing, they don't look like they're really built for that bottle to be put in, but I would imagine they actually are, because these are the kind of like leggings kind of thing that you would run with. So I'm guessing that that is a pocket that is actually built for that, but it just looks so strange that it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. I don't know what, like maybe like a phone or something like that you would put in there. But that bottle feels like it's really making those leggings work hard, you know? It's really making it work hard. But there she is at Epcot, having done this Disney fun run. I said I don't know who the person is that's with her, but I do like her North Face jumper. Do like North Face. Good brand. Oh, that's a great image. That feels like a Christmas card. Look at this. Chelsea Green. I mean, I hope there's no truck coming behind her or anything. I hope we're not in the truck about to run her over. So that's Chelsea Green jumping out of a car for some reason. I don't know if this is a filter that's been applied. It could be, because if you look at the ground, there's not much snow on the road. Of course, that could have been cleared. There is a bit of snow at the side. I don't think I would be surprised. Yeah, the way the snow looks, it sort of looks like it's been snowing and it's been cleared, and now maybe we've put this filter on after. That's my conspiracy theory. I'm looking at the sky. Doesn't seem to be too much snow kind of around this bit over here. It looks a bit sketchy to me. Not sure I'm believing the snow effect. But, and there's no snow on her jacket either, you know? You gotta look at these things. So I'm not convinced by the snow effect, but it's a great looking image. I mean, that's got Christmas card written all over it. So we do look at these sometimes and say, is that worthy of being the top 25 Instagram pitch? I think this one is. I think this one does definitely deserve to be in this collection. Not so sure about this one. So this is Del Toro, and he has got his SmackDown New Year's Revolution shirt on. It's not really much to say about that. It's a decent looking image, but I wouldn't say it's a great looking image. I feel like you could have got a better background. Feel like you could have got, I don't know, you could have done a lot of stuff different, to be honest. I'm not really feeling that one. This one's a bit better. So here we are at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. We've got Grayson Waller. We got Pretty Deadly. There's a little Santa's hat on the lion as well, on the statue. I kind of appreciate that. We've got a little bit of stuff going on there. So don't know why Grayson Waller has decided to look like Oscar the Grouch. That's, you know, a brave character development there. But other than that, that's not bad. That is actually Bailey, believe it or not. Bailey, I don't know what she's doing there. Looks like some sort of karaoke. I don't know if the microphone is connected to those like tannoy things that's right next to her. I wouldn't think so. That feels like, I don't know, this just feels so random. Like, is that actually a stage? Is this like a karaoke evening? Definitely looks like a day out type thing, doesn't it? This was, do you know what that might have been? Now I'm thinking about it. She did go to a football game and she gave a player a belt. And now I'm looking at her jumper that feels like San Francisco, like SF logo. I don't know what they are, right? I know it's a football team. That might be the stadium. That might not be like a fun night out karaoke with the girls. That might be the tannoy system to get the crowd hyped up. I wonder if it's that. I wonder if that's Bailey at the football game, either actually hyping the crowd or pretending to hype the crowd. That's my running theory. And it's supported by the fact that the color of that looks to be the same color as the San Francisco logo. The color of the barrier, the color of the tannoy as well seems to be the same color. And I did remember a handing that guy the belt. So this is why I like looking at these pictures, because I like this image and it makes me wonder as to what's quite going on. I know you could find the answer, but it's an interesting image. I've kind of gone on a journey there from karaoke to announcing at a football game. That's quite the journey in the space of a few minutes. I'm sure. I mean, this is EO, and I'll tell you the thing I'm looking at those jewels that are on her nails. I mean, I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. I mean, that is a brave new world that I've never seen before. I've seen girls paint their nails, but I've never seen them putting such big jewels on as well. Like, is this a new trend? Is this a thing? I also, do you know what? I'm going to get cancelled. I don't know how I feel about each nail being a different colour. Do you know what I mean? Like, make your mind up. Make your mind up. There was a trend which I saw girls doing before where I think they painted like every nail the same color apart from, was it that finger? And that was a different color. I saw them do that as a trend. I don't know why. Don't know why that became a trend. Don't know why that became a thing. But I saw that a few years ago. I don't know what this is. Without being disrespectful, this is like when a young lady gets her first nail varnish set and it's got like little pebbles and do you know what I mean? You just go crazy basically. You're just like, do you know, I'm going to put that on. I'm going to have that one green. I'm going to have that one blue. I'm going to have that one black. I'm going to put a bit of gold pen on this one. Do you know what I mean? You just go crazy. I feel like she's done that and now she's looking at the results going, can't believe I did that. Maybe I've read into that too much. I don't know. But it's clearly the biggest thing on display right now, isn't it? Is her hand. She's showing it off. Maybe she's proud of it. Don't know. Don't know. Just having a little giggle about it. That's, in my mind, what's going on in that image. This is JC Jane, looking lovely, perfectly fine picture, blurry background. Weird blurry background though, because like you can still see this bit by the shoulders is not blurry. So this blur has been added after as an effect, obviously, but like it's not a proper shoot. So has this been added in an app on a phone? Has some sort of, I don't know, and has she blurred it herself and just not done this bit, or what's going on here by the hair and the face? I mean, she looks lovely, but I feel like a lot more work needed to be done with the background blur, right? Just saying. Just saying. Here he is. The next world heavyweight champion. Let's go. Let's go, Jinder, 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 Jinder. Yes. Getting on that champion suit, putting on that champion watch, getting the old champion pocket square, the old champion bracelets. Let's go, Jinder. Let's go. It's your time, Jinder. It's your time. Let's go. That's him going out, getting ready to find Tony Khan, have words face to face. I'm sorry, did you have something you wanted to say to my face, Tony Khan? Huh? Jinder, there he is. The next lovely looking watch, lovely looking suit. Do you know what? This guy. And this mark on his nose, it's always there, isn't it? Like, I'm guessing that he broke his nose or did something, and that mark's always there. I Obviously, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying it is always, it's always on the side of his nose. It's not like a graze that's like, you know, healing. I think he must have broke his nose at some point. He looks brilliant. He looks like a champion. Could you imagine that guy with the belt over his shoulder? Shut up. He's definitely champion material. Don't hinder the Jinder. Lovely image there. Do you know, that felt at first a little bit AJ Lee. I just momentarily like, is that AJ? It's actually Nia Jax. Nia Jax contemplating, meditating, taking in the moment, living in the moment, not worrying about tomorrow, not thinking of yesterday, living in the now. She might not be doing any of those things actually, but it's a very nice image. So yeah, fair play. I think it deserves to be on the list. This is Maxine Dupree, and great. Yeah, don't know what you say, to be honest. She's just having a lovely time backstage. She's having a lovely time backstage and just feeling cute, living her best life. I don't know that deserves to be in the top 25. I think if you're a Maxine Dupree simp, I'd imagine you do. But it's not really much of an interesting background here. We're not really doing anything. There's not really much to break down. Although I do want to... What does that sign say in the background? Something allowed. Can't read it. It says something allowed. Something is definitely allowed. We are allowed to do something in the background, but I don't know what it is. Pose for photos, maybe. I don't know. Look super cute. That's what we're allowed to do. We're allowed to look super cute. Talking of super cute, here is Michin Mia Yim. She is such a good follow on Twitter. I don't know if I've said that before. If I haven't, I regret not saying it before. She is such a good follow on Twitter. You should definitely follow her. She's really fun. And again, she's just feeling super cute. She saw that sign. She's like, well, you know, if Maxine can do it, I can do it. You know, morning. Here's Natalia. Just getting up, morning. About to have some breakfast, pop some clothes on. I feel like I'm there, you know? I feel like I'm in the room with Natalia, and that is no bad thing. So me and Natalia, we're just going to go off and get some breakfast. Might do a bit of Netflix and chill. Who knows? But Natalia looking lovely. It's always interesting to look at the hotel rooms because this is where they spend the majority of their lives. You know, on the road. This is what a wrestler's life is like. This is the hotel rooms that they stay in. Not shabby at all, are they? Certainly not like back in the day when wrestlers were staying in motels. Them days are gone. Like, these are the high-class hotel rooms that wrestlers stay in these days. Living a life of luxury. It's not the biggest of rooms, but you're not going to get the biggest of rooms, really, in hotels. Unless you spend big and go for, like, the honeymoon suites. So, you know, not loads of room, but enough room. And it looks lovely, so. Morning. Here is Kyrie. She is not showing off her nails. She is contemplating. We've got TY Auto on the table. Don't know what that means. TV audio, maybe? Is that what it says? TV Auto. But is this one of the 25 best pictures? I don't think so. But Kyrie looks lovely. She's not even looking at the camera, though, to be honest. I've met Kyrie. I've got a picture with Kyrie. She's a lovely woman. So I'll have nothing said against Kyrie Sane. But this could be a better picture. This is Scarlett. So with her new hair, I think that's why it's made the list. I think we're showing off her new hair color, which we saw on SmackDown. Suits her, but then I'm pretty sure you could change this hair color any color and it would suit her. I'm pretty sure this could be lime green and we'd be like, that makes sense. So it works for her. It looks great on her, but I think any color would work for her. This is Rhea and Dirty Dom, and I've got to be honest, I didn't. I saw this tweet, and it was like, I always enjoy mommy's milk or something like this, and I was just like, I don't know. I'm kind of. I think I'm done with that kind of tweet from these two now. I know that people find it cheeky and all that kind of stuff, but we've been doing this for so long now. So long that we've been doing this. I always enjoy Mommy's milk. Mommy is always on top. Blah, 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 blah. Like, how will this ever end? Like, are we ever going to do something different with these people? So yeah, fine, whatever. You know, that's what this is. I'm sure I saw the tweet from Dominic saying, like, I always enjoy Mommy's milk. And I was like, well, good for you. Good for you. I'm pleased for you. I would not touch that milk, to be honest. I don't know when it got opened. I don't really like trusting milk that's already been opened unless I know who opened it and how long it's been around for. That's just me. So I'd probably take a cookie, but I would not touch Mommy's milk. Here is Samantha Irvin, looking lovely. People love these big gold chains, don't they? I've seen a few of these pictures with big, beefy chains. People seem to really enjoy those. So, yeah, what you say there? Samantha Irvin, living her best life, looking like a tiger. God bless her. Yeah, she got married, didn't she? So, Shotzi got married. And then she turned up to a house show wearing her wedding dress, which is all really weird because there'd been no talk of her getting married. I hadn't heard any interviews or any word she was getting married. So she just randomly shows up in a wedding dress. And I think probably told the crowd that she'd just got married. So a little bit weird, mixing real life with her character. You know, but whatever, who cares? It was a house show. That's a fun thing to happen at a house show. So it'll be a quirky little... Do you remember that time that Shotzi turned up in a wedding dress? Having just got married. So, yeah, this is her. I don't know who that person is in the background. I believe she has a husband. So I think that might be like... I don't know. Could be a family member. Could be a friend. Could be the person that made the dress. Might be the flower girl. It could be a niece. It could be her aunt. I don't think her mom's still around. So I don't think it'll be her mom. And I don't think it's her partner. But it could be the lady that owns the room they're in. It could be a complete stranger that just found a way in the room and is like scared in the corner thinking I shouldn't be in this room. I actually walked into the wrong room. I meant to go next door. These people think I'm part of this. I'm just going to stand in the corner and smile and hope that this ends soon because this is really awkward for me. And if they ask me any questions, I'm not going to have any answers. So, you know, it is very interesting to consider all the options. I don't know which one is true. I hope it's the last one. We've got, that's my favorite so far, onbuy.com. Do we add to our baskets some Brita water filters? And I don't have a filter thing. I don't even know what the other stuff is. Gillette razor blades. We could add 10 for £20. That's a bargain. I don't even know what those are. TKTX? No idea. No idea. We will never know what TKTX is. Here is, I feel like every week we look at a picture of Ludwig like posing in a gym. Every week. Is it like, have we got to do it every week? We've just got to get a Ludwig image and shove it in there like every week. Perhaps whoever puts this collection together is like a simp, a stan for Ludwig. And every week we must include a picture. Because I feel like I see him half naked on a regular basis, which is a very weird thing to say out loud. And to be honest, if I looked as great as him, I would also do this on a regular basis. Here is Nikki Cross smiling. Haven't seen her in a couple of weeks, I don't think. Sometimes they've been having her like backstage doing the staring in the distance thing, but I haven't seen her do anything for a little bit. So I don't know what the plan is with Nikki. I hope we get somewhere. I hope the plan gets revealed. But here she is on a chill out moment. Showing, I think, a little bit of leg as well. Look at that. Absolutely disgusting. Little bit of leg on display. You've got to really look for it, but it's down there. Little bit of leg. She's just giving the boys what they want. Zelina Vega is definitely subscribing to that mentality as well, showing off the abs. I mean, again, if I had abs like that, I'd also be doing that. She looks brilliant. She always looks brilliant. She's in great shape, and she really looks after herself. She's someone we've seen pictures of in the gym as well. I think she does a lot of work with Malachi and a lot of stuff at home. Like, clearly she's in phenomenal shape. So I don't know what the future's going to hold for Zelina, like in regards to, are we going to use her as a wrestler? Is she just going to be a valet? She's kind of in this weird in-between phase. I'd love to see her be the manager of Andrade again going forwards. I think she'd be brilliant as a manager. When she was with Andrade, that rocked. That was so good. So, I don't know, stay in shape, keep your options open, but she looks fantastic. I said, didn't I? What did I say? He loves it. Angelo Dawkins loves it. I thought that was a window behind him, and I was like, why is his house right in front of a massive escalator? But I think that's actually a TV. So, I mean, look at the screens. Has he got like 4 screens on the go in the background? I think he's got... Is this a glimpse into his world? He's got a massive TV that's showing people going up an escalator. Pervert. Then he's got whatever that computer screen is. Then he's got what look to be like CCTV monitors, like where you've got like 4 little screens on one screen. He's got that twice. And I think they're all showing football games as well. This guy does not want to miss a second of any football action or a second of whatever's going to happen with this escalator. I don't know why he's watching the escalator. I don't know what the escalator's got to do with anything. Very interested in this, but do you know what? At first, you might just think this is a guy that's screaming. If you actually look at the background, there's a hell of a lot more going on. Yeah? A hell of a lot more. And this is our final one. Smile. Well, she weren't smiling during the show, but it looks like she's in the stable here. And this is a moment where she seemed to be enjoying herself. This is Tiffany Stratton from NXT. In the stable, big smile on her face, and obviously they filmed those vignettes where she had to help out Fallon Henley, mucking out and everything, so she did not have a good time. So this is a rare moment where she seems to be able to smile, but that is Tiffany at the stable. So that is this week's 25 best 25 Instagram images. You'll have to let me know which one was your favorite. And on that bombshell, my friends, I think we're about done. We'll get a few final thoughts as we drift our way towards the conclusion of this stream. The stream clocking in. You know, we set the timer for an hour. We always know that's going to be ignored. We're clocking in at just over 2 hours. So we'll get a few final thoughts and then we'll send this baby home. So, HJ said, Daze, is there a chance that LA Knight wins the World Championship this year? I'm worried that WWE is going to drop the ball on him and he's going to get lost in the shuffle. Thoughts? So, my thoughts are that I think he wins a mid-card title. I think he's the one that gets the belt from Logan. And I think then it's going to depend on how he's booked, how the crowd react to him as a mid-card champion. I think the bottom line is, if he is right to be a world champion, because being a world champion is not something that should just be handed out. You know, we spoke earlier, Finn Balor's had it for 24 hours. Sami Zayn has never had it. I can't remember the last time that Kevin Owens was a world champion. Like, Jinder had it back in 2017, obviously, and has been nowhere near it since. So winning a world title is something which, you know, Cody, no Rhodes has ever had one in WWE. Mr. Perfect never won it. Jake the Snake never won it. Rowdy Roddy Piper never won it. Like, there's so many greats that never got a world title in WWE. It should not be something that just gets handed or something that's easy. So I think he should get a mid-card title I think we should see how that goes, see if the crowd are still with him, see if the merch sales are still there. And if they are, then we can start looking at, like, okay, WrestleMania 41, is he hot? You know, is he the right guy? But it is true. He may get lost in the shuffle. He may get lost in the shuffle. If he remains hot, remains a fan favorite, I think there's a chance that they will go with him having a run with the world title at some point. I don't know that it'll be this year, but at some point they may pull the trigger. But if it does start to die down, well, then I think I would make the argument he was never right to put the title on. You know, I feel like he got hot, he got over. WWE were, you know, maybe a few months late getting to the party, but they have got to the party. I mean, he main evented against Roman in Saudi. He was in the Money in the Bank match, even though he wasn't at WrestleMania. He was in a match at SummerSlam. Like, he's been involved really since the middle of the year. So you can say that they, you know, didn't really support him earlier in the year. But I think once they were happy that this was not just a flash in the pan and that this crowd support was legit, I think they did get behind him. And so it's over to the fans. That's it. It's over to the fans. If the fans are going to stick with him, I'm sure he will get there. If the fans do abandon him, then he will struggle. And because there are so many good options of people we can turn to that could be a world champion. But yeah, with CM Punk coming in, with Cody obviously trying to finish his story, with Gunther coming through, you know, there's a lot of options. But I think he is an option. He's got the crowd. He's still got the crowd. And I think it'll be a mid-card title first. And I think it should be a mid-card title. I don't think that he's done enough to warrant winning a world title. Not if you look at the fact that Sami hasn't got one yet. I can't say that LA Knight has done more than Sami Zayn. So for me, get in line. Wait your turn. And if the crowd are still with him, he'll get it. And I think that's WWE's approach as well. I think that's WWE's approach. Let's get him in line. Let's see if the crowd stick with him. If they do, we'll pull the trigger. But it's over to the fans. It is over to the fans. Kyle said it shows how ahead of AEW WWE is. Tony would kill for The Rock, and for WWE, he just overcrowds the main roster scene. Ethan said, Daze, I've got a question. If you had to bring back one pay-per-view, what would it be? I would bring back King of the Ring. We spoke about that the other day as well. I would bring back King of the Ring and I would throw it open to everybody. So other than Roman and Seth, who are the two big champs, everyone, mid-card champs, tag teams, jobbers, everyone, I would open it up to the full male roster, and I would not do a normal tournament. A normal tournament's got about, 8 people in it? 4 each side, something like that. I would have like 50 guys in it, and I would make it a big company-wide. I might even include NXT. I might even have like some NXT guys come into SmackDown to take on some of the SmackDown guys, or go into Raw to take on some of the Raw guys, and some of the NXT guys going against themselves. And then obviously a lot of Raw stars against Raw stars, SmackDown stars against SmackDown stars, and do this big, massive... because that means everyone's had a shot. Everyone's had a chance. And I said before, you could do Dominic against Rey Mysterio. Amazing. What a match. I mean, we saw that at WrestleMania. You could totally do that in that tournament in like round 2. And you could have Damian Priest against Finn Balor. What are you going to do? The tournament was a random draw, and they have both won, and they've now faced each other. In fact, you could even do that. You could do the first round, and once the first round was completed, you could then draw, you know, like we do in soccer. You do like a show on the network where you draw out, okay, number 1, Number 1 is Finn Balor. He's going to be taking on number 48. Number 48 is Gunther. Oh, wow, that's going to be amazing. Next one. Okay, next out. Number 6, that's R-Truth. He's going to be taking on number 15. That is Ivar. Okay, R-Truth, Ivar. It's going to be tricky for R-Truth. That'd be a really, you know, like how people enjoy watching the draft. This would be somewhat similar. And so you do this big company-wide tournament. You could even do a show on the network where you'd pick the next round and then just get it down to a manageable size. Maybe you get it down to the two semi-finals, and then you do that at the King of the Ring pay-per-view. But I mean, the full month beforehand would just be this massive tournament where we're just really trying to whittle it down. We're trying to figure out who is the king. And as we said, whoever is king and queen, whoever win the tournaments, they've just got past pretty much everyone to win those tournaments. They need to have some sort of power. They need to have some sort of responsibility. Could be that they get to choose who the champions face at the next pay-per-view or whatever, right? But just putting a silly crown on them and a robe, I don't think would cut the mustard, to be honest. I think you've got to do something better than that. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of tournaments that mean something. The G1, I mean, if you're into your wrestling, the G1 is just seen as the tournament, right? But I think you've got to give praise to AEW. Their Continental Classic was excellent as well. And, you know, WWE have got a tournament that's got history that could be really good, that could really mean something in King and Queen of the Ring. It's just that we don't always do it every year. And the prize sucks because you just literally get called the King and the Queen. I mean, that's just rubbish. Right? If the prize was better, if the tournament meant more, if the tournament had some really banging matches, interesting matches, and then like it all built to like a pay-per-view, and you had just a whole month of like King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring, King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring matches, you're going to get that message out pretty loud. This tournament matters. And that pay-per-view then surely is going to be well received. So, yeah, I'd be a big believer in that. That would be something I would campaign for. So, but it's not going to happen, so we need to move on. Big Time said Raw could be getting whipped tomorrow. There's 2 football games, one doing 30 million because of weather conditions. The Sunday game has been moved. That's going to do 40 million. Don't underestimate Jinder Mahal. That's all I'm going to say. James said, fantastic news about Afa. Yes. So Afa out the hospital, which is excellent. One of the Wild Samoans, a forefather of the Anoa'i family. So, yeah, completely agree. Brilliant news. Brilliant news. And of course, Pete Dunne, that name looks like it's on its way back. So that was a big talking point that we had coming out of Friday as well. So, right, my friends, we're done. We've stuck around for over a couple of hours. I think I've held you hostage long enough. A big thank you to everyone that's joined us for this stream. Hope you had fun. I hope we enjoyed some of the conversations. I do enjoy the Sunday streams for that. I think it sets up the week. It allows us to just kind of have a chat as to where we've been, where we're going. I like to have a little look at those Instagram pictures as well. Sometimes there's some really funny ones in there. So I like to do that as well. So, yeah, have a good night wherever you are. Don't forget we are back tomorrow for what looks to be a really good Raw. I'm not going to worry about the football games. That'll do whatever. Don't care. I'm excited about Jinder and Seth. I'm excited about Gunther coming back. I'm excited about the Awesome Truth. We'll see what Cody's got to say. Let's go. So have a good evening. Appreciate the support, and I'll see you again next